Welcome back to the channel, and here we go again, fucking talking about steroids and TRT. Everybody's like, oh, they're the same thing. Yes and no. Okay, there's a difference between what you're doing with TRT in a place like Core Medical and what you're doing in the gym with your bros shooting up horse semen in your ass. And that's really the difference, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, let me briefly explain. Like for men, testosterone is one of the, it's like what makes us who we are, right? It's what makes us who we are. And it's what makes us masculine. It's what gives us our aggression, our energy. It makes us sleep. It makes us recovery. It makes our, helps our muscles repair. It keeps us from being depressed. I mean, there's a million things that go on with it, right? And I've learned that leaving the military, I've been on TRT for over 10 years. I'm a managing partner of Core Medical Group. It's a nationwide clinic, but I'm actually flying there tomorrow. Well, when this video comes out, I've already been there and gone, but flying down there tomorrow to go film some content with them and to do some podcasting and talk about operations and seeing how we can help more people. Anyways, so when leaving the military, I was really, really messed up. You guys have read The Excommunicated Warrior, the seven stages of transition. You know that story. But I found out that some of my issues was actually from low T. And then I'm 30 years old. I go get my hormones checked, and I had a 191 testosterone. My LH was in the garbage. My LH was in the garbage. My sex binding hormone goblin was in the tank. My free test, everything was in the tank. It was just garbage, man. So I get on testosterone, and all of a sudden, holy cow, man, my life starts to improve. And then I had to get educated. I went to a 2-week inpatient brain clinic, and the doctor was like, hey, listen, he's looking at my lab. He's like, you're going to be on, based off what I'm seeing, you're going to be on HRT for the rest of your life. Like, just get used to that. And there's a lot of people that disagree and say a bunch of things. And the reality is this. There's two types of hypergonadism. Hypergonadism is essentially when your body is no longer, endocrine system is no longer producing testosterone to the rate or the amount of which you're supposed to be. Now, you take away all trauma. You take away the military. At 30 years old, it's going to decline. If you have a poor lifestyle, it's going to decline even faster. If you're overweight and eating like shit and not training, it's going to decline even faster. But even the fittest person on the earth at 30 years old, it's going to start to decline. It's part of the natural aging process. I just personally don't think that that's okay. Like, I want to live a high quality of life all the way up until the day I die, right? I want to have lots of energy. I want to do all the things with my family. I want to be a good father to my son. I want to chase my wife around the house like we're freaking, mating rabbits, right? Isn't that a goal for all men? Yeah. So there's two types of hypergonadism. One being some sort of traumatic issue with the pituitary gland in the brain, right? Excuse me. And that being one I had. So the other version of it is actual trauma too. So I have a good friend who had, I'll call him out here. We talked about it. John Rusheye from Johnny Slicks. When he was 16 years old, he had what's called a brownout. And a brownout is when you have trauma to your actual testicles and your ball falls out of his sack, which apparently is very long. Did you know that?
Like your actual balls?
Your actual ball. If it came out of the sack, that little cord that's in there, like, it gets some distance, bro. Like, it will go down to your knee.
It was literally dragging on the ground. Wasn't
it? Dude. It was like blood in his sock. And let's just say it was, so that he didn't know what was going on. It was a skateboarding accident, and the paramedics showed up, and they're like, we got a brownout. And he said it was just pulling. Could you imagine like that feeling you get in your gut?
Yeah.
When like you get kicked in the nuts?
Yep.
But it's like pulling your guts.
Fuck.
Oh, God. I can't even imagine. Anyways, I got his testosterone levels back. So let's do a lab test. He was like 26. I'm like, why is your testosterone so low? And he told me that. He goes, well, I don't know. One story could be this. I was like, holy shit, dude. It's a type of hypergonadism. So we got him hooked up, and all of a sudden he's got his levels back to where he's at. So it's either something that happened to your pituitary gland in the brain, or something that happened to your scrotum, or you're just getting older in general. So what is the purpose? What is the purpose of TRT, testosterone replacement therapy? The purpose for TRT is for patients or people with medical conditions that have hypogonadism, which is most of the time my veterans, are men in general who just, let's just be real, lived life on the more exciting side. Maybe got punched in the face a little bit too many times. Anyways, so all that is going to do is it is going to put you back to where you're supposed to be, right? Or maybe slightly above, like average, because average is the enemy. Mediocrity is bullshit. We want to be above average. So above that. Okay, what's the purpose of anabolic steroids? The purpose of anabolic steroids is it's a strictly performance-based things. We won't get into it, but it's commonly misused amongst athletes and bodybuilders. Okay, black market shit that's made in bathtubs, shit that's made overseas. You don't know where it's coming from. You're not monitoring blood work. You don't know the quality of the lab that it's coming from. And majority of the time, these steroids, the anabolic steroids, are actually for animals. They're not for human consumption. So obviously now you're getting into a host of side effects and all the negatives that come across with this. This is not the same for TRT, and I'll explain why. Because doses and administration matters. So with TRT, it's controlled dosages through a licensed medical professional. So for instance, with Core Medical, we are licensed in every single state that we practice in. So our medical professionals, our doctors and our PAs have to be licensed in the state which you live, where they administer those doses. Not to mention they're monitoring your blood work to see not just what's your testosterone level, because your testosterone level could be fine. And then the average doctor or the VA gets back, your GP says, well, your testosterone's a 400, 300 is low, but you're above 300, so you should be good. But what they're not looking at, your sex-binding hormone goblin, they're not looking at your LH, they're not looking at your FSH, they're not looking at all your free testosterone. So yeah, while you have, and I'll explain it this way, if your HPHG is off, then what's happening is, and your testosterone is good, it's like you have a Ferrari. Great, you have a Ferrari. Congratulations. You're 35, 40 years old. You got a 700 testosterone score level. But your SPHG is crap, so which means you have a Ferrari with 4 flat tires, meaning your body can't use that testosterone. So it's great that you have a Ferrari. It's great that you have good testosterone levels, but the fact that your SPHG is all messed up means your body doesn't have access to utilize that testosterone. So this is the reason why it's so important to get with people like Core Med that are professionals in the environment, that aren't just going to give you the bare necessities. They're going to, we have a 27 panel blood test. A regular GP is going to test like 5 things on your blood, and that's it. We're going to go into every single thing. We're going to find out if you have cancer, you have tumor, what your prostate's doing, what your LH is doing, what your SPHG is doing, what's your free test, what's your testosterone, all of it, because they all paint one picture. We can't just go off 1 or 2 things. All right. And then how it's typically administered. All right. The way we administer stuff, in a proper way is going to be lower than what you're getting with anabolic steroids. Not to mention it's actually created in a lab here in the United States, made for human beings, not freaking racehorses or whatever weird shit that's getting cooked up in a bathtub. And I see it in the comments. Oh, just go black market. Go to this website and go to this website. Dude, you can do that if you want. But we have a lot of those people that do that. They have a ton of bad, adverse reactions. And then they come back to us and they go to Core and be like, hey, I'm super jacked up. And, we'll fix you. We'll get you off of that, cycle that stuff off, and get your dosages in the right way. Anyways, so TRT, by doing it with a licensed professional, you're getting to the sweet spot of where you need to be, right? On all levels, right? You're not just your hormones, but your vitamins, your vitamin D, your B vitamin levels, everything across the board, everything under the sun. We want to optimize your complete life, right? And if you are an athlete and you are, performing at a certain level, like I do jiu-jitsu, then we'll look at some other things to do some restorative work, like BPC 157 and some other things that we have access to that can help repair some of the damage that you've done to your body, right? Or your job has done to your body, et cetera. And this way, there's no side effects. You're not having any side effects. You can still have kids if you so choose. They have a great a fertility protocol. I've had a kid. My man Vince Vargas has had like 27 kids while he's been with Core. Every time we talk about this, Vince has had more kids. So I have to check out what kind of house he's living in these days, right? Jeez. Anyways, but with anabolic steroids, obviously the dosages are a lot higher. You're going to have a lot of more psychological issues because you're messing with the method of intakes is, who knows what it is. A lot of times it can be a pill version, which is taxing your liver. And then that's when you're going to get, a lot of the side effects that you are going to deal with, right? Because you have nobody to, one, check the quality of the medications that you're getting or manage the levels in which you're taking them. So I strongly advise that you get with a professional, not just your GP, because typically the GP or VA doesn't understand hormones. They're going to check for one or two things, and they're going to issue some bullshit protocol. And so the VA is the worst, where they'll like, oh no, I got my testosterone. Yeah, you got testosterone for the VA, but that's all you got. You didn't get HCG. You didn't get any other thing to help. You didn't get your vitamin D and your B12 and anything else to help with that protocol. Or the fact that, they're issuing you a very low level dose of testosterone for a matter of 3 weeks. So what you don't know about testosterone is it has a high half-life cycle, right? So you peak, testosterone cypionate peaks around the 3rd or 4th day. So if they're giving you a little bit and they're saying come back in 2 or 3 weeks for your second shot or administer that way, they're only giving you enough, then what's happening is you're feeling really good by day 3 or 4, but then by a week, you have a whole another week to go. Starting to feel really shitty. You're actually worse off than you were. It's because they don't understand the medication. They don't understand how to administer TRT. So go to a professional. And then obviously the harmful side effects of overuse, and all kinds of things that could really, really hurt you. And that's where the stigmas come from, is all the bad stuff. But there's literally nobody that has, anybody that has Core Medical doesn't have side effects, and I've been with them for freaking years. Obviously there's, regulation and legality to all of this. And if you're taking anabolic steroids, obviously they're illegal. Traveling with them is more complicated, right? You don't know what you're getting. There's a lot of countries that have some serious stances on anabolic steroid use, and you just don't want to complicate your life, right? Like it's all fine and dandy until you get caught with it or there's an issue, and then all of a sudden you've got more of an issue than you really wanted. So why not just do it the right way, do it the legal way, do it with a licensed medical professional that understands hormones, and then just save yourself the headache, man. And that way you feel really good, you operate really good, and go from there. So those are the big differences. Those are the big difference between the two, right? You're not taking, when you're on TRT, you're not taking D-ball or I don't know, what is some of the other horse? I don't even know.
Like Tren.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, you're getting like horrible back acne and your joints are hurting and you're just absolutely freaking falling apart and your balls retract up inside of you. you got no HCG. Anyways, so don't do that. Just get with a licensed professional, get it managed right. And and I'm talking to the people that are like really just want to have a high quality of life. You want to make more money. You want to have a better quality of life, sex life. You don't want to have any sort of erectile dysfunction. And just so you know, not to get on the sidetrack, erectile dysfunction is not just your dick doesn't get hard. Erectile dysfunction is also your lack of desire is actually a type of erectile dysfunction, which I wasn't aware of until I worked with Core. But there's a lot of different layers of ED, and one of them is just a lack of sexual desire. So if you lack sexual desire, you're not wanting to chase your you don't want to chase your wife around the house like you should be. As remember, as men, we always need a beauty to rescue. or beauty to pleasure, right? So do that. Anyways, but get it done by a medical professional. I have a link below. You click that link. The process is like this with Core Med. You fill it out. You book an appointment, or my man David Black sends you a text. And then once that happens, you get a lab request. You go to your local LabCorp. You know, they take you like 6 vials of blood. It takes about 48, 72 hours for that to come back. Then you get a telemedicine visit with one of our PAs or doctors. They go over your labs. They make a suggested protocol. And then you get with the patient coordinator. You order meds, and they come to your door. And then you get a video on how to administer everything. And then we repeat that process month after month, man. And it is a life-changing event. I highly suggest. And even if you don't know if you need it, men, get your freaking blood checked, because you don't know what's going on with you until the blood tells the story. The blood tells the story. So those are that's the difference between TRT and anabolic steroids. I challenge you to get a blood test at a minimum. Core is, in my opinion, and the reason why I've worked with them for so long, Core is, one, they have a huge heart for veterans. They have a huge heart for men. They really care about your life. We have the end of February, beginning of March, we have our military appreciation weekend that we do every year, and we get clients and the community of everybody with Core that can come to kind of have a good weekend together. And it's a big family, and man, they just really give a shit about your quality of life, and that's why I work with them. And they're also the best in the biz. So check them out, and then if you're gonna do it, just to do it the right way. Links below. Hit me with questions if I didn't answer, and I'll get back to you down in the comments section, or DM me on Instagram. I'll talk to you there. Other than that, never quit, never surrender, always forward. See you in the next one. Peace.